What is going on? I'm Zedmont. We are here with yet another sneak peek. I think this is sneak peek number 67 of 68 for the week. One more to come soon, so do consider subscribing for that. Now, Warships Season 68 has started on the dev build. Let's jump on in and see what it has to say. This is called Extended Festivities. So, greetings, Commander. We are headed for a longer cruise, so we decided to pack all the stuff left over from the Prototroop Cup. Lots of good stuff there. We will again need even more engine power, and this time we even had to extend the landing crafts to fit everything. Thinking you guys can figure out what that stuff means, I am going to jump right in here. Look at this. 3 engine rooms, 4 engine rooms, 5 engine rooms, 6 engine rooms, 7 engine rooms. You guessed it, an 8 engine room season. And the 8th engine room is not like it was last time. You basically have to go through there to get all of the good stuff at the end. So 8 engine rooms, plus they talked about extending the landing crafts, and some of you are eagle-eyed might have seen it as we scrolled through, but first what I'm going to do is show you that engravings do absolutely nothing on warships. This has been a question I've been asked a whole lot. We are going to take that power surge. We are going to activate it using 7 powder. Just a reminder, using 4 is a little bit smarter if you have the ability to plan ahead, but notice that should give 55% additional gunboat energy for every building destroyed. Now, as you notice here, we only have medics unlocked. So if you jump into warships, you're going to have a very, very bad time. I am going to unlock the hidden warriors because these guys are a lot of fun. Just a reminder, they are only 63% as strong as regular warriors because they take up more space in the landing crafts. So if we load our landing crafts up with those guys and then hit that battle button over there, we should be able to pick up a match fairly quickly, I would think. And why I say that is because, of course, I've got 2 devices standing by. We are going to be doing some match fixing. I do not recommend doing this on the regular build. That is how you get banned, and banned quickly. But come on, match. There we go. Zedmont versus, we don't know, but probably Zedmont. Now, these flamethrowers at shore, notice regular everyday flamethrowers outrun our hidden warriors. They are invisible. Flamethrowers can't see them. And then we are going to go up to 38 GBE. And if we would have had that engraving working, we would have gone up to 41, maybe 42 because of rounding. I don't want to do the math. Neither do you. But the bottom line is that that engraving did absolutely nothing. And just to double check, I went through all sorts of these engravings. We'll go through one more here quickly. This is the best engraving at the game at the second. Reminder, you need to deactivate and then come over here, and then you need to activate it. We don't have enough powder. And just like that, we've got enough powder. So we are going to fill up that. We're going to get back into warships. We are going to match up against ourselves. And warships does not like matching the same player twice, but either the dev build does it or the regular build would do it, but the situation never arises. So if we notice these flamethrowers, they are not reduced damage. They're not losing 100 health. They are just going to attack our dudes as I bust out a giant sneeze. So armor engraving doing nothing. All the rest of the engravings also doing nothing. Now, I did not test all of them. There may be some edge cases, so you might want to do some digging on that and let me know. But overall, engravings, not something you need to worry about, which is pretty darn nice because engravings are so gosh darn confusing. Do consider subscribing. I have another video that I've got planned for engravings just to try to shed some light on the confusing bits. Now, before we go any further, code ZMOT does not work here. I have had an influx of questions of how to get this build, where to get this hacked APK, what site to visit. This is not the real game. Yes, we do have 1 million diamonds up there, but this is a private server run by Supercell, monitored by Supercell, hosted by Supercell, so there is nothing to do on here but create sneak peeks when sneak peeks are available. So anyways, this is the next interesting bit. So I need to add myself some tokens and some keys and some warship strength. And now we can do whatever the heck we want to do on the dev build. So I'm going to come down through this bottom path. Notice that the top path unlocks brick, the bottom path unlocks bullet, and the bottom path also gives these deployable turrets and explosive drones. Now, explosive drones have apparently been fixed so that when they're used with that crystal shield projector, they won't explode twice. Fixed in bunny ears for that one for me. Anyways, deployable turret, we're going to get this one, and I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. Notice the deployable turret is level 16. It does 585 damage per second. That's going to be important. We'll come back to that. Now, Sky Shield, probably somewhat useful simply because of the fact that there are flares, which is a great way to start this season. And that grappler with these guys down here, the clone riflemen, means you're just grabbing that air, my friend. Anyways, moving forwards, this is where things start to get very interesting. Some of the prototroops, such as the cryo tank and or mechs and or where are we going? Critter cannons and lasertrons and heavy choppas are all too big for warships for us to get more than one per boat, and Supercell gave us a bit of a Christmas present here. And by the way, at this point, probably heavy rush and or clone rifleman rush. I would think we have flares, we have brick. Just gonna rush through things. I think most people are probably gonna do best with brick and her cluster grenade even, but moving forwards, we're going to get the Grens out. Don't care about the cryo tank. I don't think anyone's going to go through those negative nodes to get those cryo tanks. I don't think that anyone needs to go get mechs, but we're going to keep moving forwards because there is some cool stuff just ahead. And this is where the coolness factor comes in right there. And you have to go through it, which I also really do like. So if we go through that, it already gets up to max level, and suddenly our troop capacity is up to 16 out of 16. Now we need to go back here. We need to boost this up because you still need to upgrade your landing crafts. It doesn't just magically get them up. And now all of a sudden we're at 30 of 30. So if we come down through here, we're going to give away some of our mortars and get onto that rocket chopper, and then all of a sudden we can get 2 rocket choppers per boat. I don't think we could do that before because the unit size is 14, but again, haven't used rocket choppers in a minute, and the things I was most focused on are further ahead, so we are going to keep moving forwards. As I rack my brains to think if we can get 2 rocket choppers before, I don't think so, which is going to make GBE all the more important, moving forwards even further to get that artillery, and now through that negative node to get rid of a boom cannon to get these guys. Now these guys, you might not be a big fan of these. You might think critter cannons are boring, but just a reminder that critters all of a sudden do get that troop damage boost, even on warships, as do, let's go find ourselves some troop damage, shall we? Where the heck is the troop damage? We have to go all the way to the end to get troop damage. There must be a boost somewhere along this path. And again, sorry, I've been swamped, so I do not have the total stats for you. I don't have all of the locations memorized. We're just going to keep going forwards until we can find a very obvious troop damage as Captain Rudero comes into play. That is not what we're looking for. Neither is that. So we can keep moving forwards into shock bombs, which are fantastic. Love me some shock bombs. Keeping moving. And this is, of course, before the Seekers, as we get our next engine room level, new decking, hooray, huzzah, all the rest of it. And before Seekers, you do get a couple machine guns. Not really relevant because Seekers don't exactly need those things. And in order to get into the heavy choppas, you need to give up one of these things. So we are going to go back here towards where were those things, right about there. Let's go back up here and pick up some critter launchers just so that we can get rid of some critter launchers. And if you thought heavy chopper rush was a noob filled job before, here we go. Are you ready for this? Sounds like a good song. So we have heavies, we have heavy choppas, and now all of a sudden on our attacks, we can load 2 per boat. Yes, double the heavy choppa. Just absolute ridiculousness. Now, because of the fact that I don't have instant training, we actually have to wait a little bit. And where is our last landing craft? Something's weird. It says we have 8 landing crafts. We can only fill 7 of them. Okay, so we just found a bug. I went back, reset a couple other dev build accounts, and it turns out that if you unlock this right here, that landing craft boost, before you max your landing crafts, you're going to have a very bad time. So take it from me, make darn sure that you max your landing crafts before you unlock this node right here. I am going to pass that along to the devs, but and I don't understand how the logic works, but all of a sudden you just straight up lose a landing craft. I went through all of the negative nodes and confirmed I did not have a -1 landing craft node, which, by the way, that would be a boost that should go right about here underneath that heavy choppa. Supercell, do put that in. You already have the code to do it, apparently, but all of a sudden I have 1 less landing craft. We are going to switch this to troop damage so that I can actually show you what I was trying to show you before. If we have a look over here on this thing right here, notice that all of a sudden, deployable turret, that troop damage is applied to the deployable turret. So deployable turrets are still fairly useless, but they're slightly less useless. Now, same thing on the explosive drones. All of a sudden, the damage per shot on explosive drones is boosted by troop damage. So you're probably going to want to get explosive drones right there, because as you get more troop damage, they're going to do more and more damage when they explode. So a little bit of a monkey wrench thrown into the works there, but rocket choppas and heavy choppas. And also, if we go back here to these critter launchers, notice that they shoot 8 critters per burst. That is going to be ridiculous as you get more troop damage. So maybe, just maybe, you can troll people with those critter launchers, but you're still shooting critters against a whole lot of defenses, so not super duper quick. Moving forwards now, as we get forwards, we can get those Rainmakers, which don't really have a place on warships, probably, but maybe you can do like a drop with one of them in the bottom left corner or something like that. Anyways, moving forwards, every single person is going to have barrage, which means that all of a sudden these sky shields back here are going to be slightly more relevant. Most people are going to have both artillery and barrage at this point, so actually, I guess every single person, not most people, all people. And then into that next engine room with that weird little cul-de-sac above it. We're going to have a look at that cul-de-sac, see what's in it now. We have got another Doom Cannon. We have got another shock launcher or rocket launcher, plus some extra defenses and some troop damage. So all of a sudden, 7 engine rooms looking good. But you know what's looking better? 8 engine rooms. Yep, you know what's better than 8? 9, but we don't have that this season. You get the basic idea though. But look how deep cannons are. So the fact that cannons are way back here, maybe those extra rocket choppas will be interesting. And in the past, you needed to have lots of troop damage to use rocket choppas, but in the past, you didn't have 2 of them per boat. So maybe they'll be a bit more viable with cannons pushed down to the far right. There are a lot of boom cannons and things though, so I'll leave that up to you guys. Into that final engine room, getting even more troop damage. There is our 8 engine rooms. Count them, 8 engine rooms. There is your final deck, and I don't even remember what the 7th engine room deck looks like, so you'll have to rewind if you missed that. Sorry, lots of things to cover, and I am a little bit flabbergasted by the fact that I just found yet another bug. 2 laser beams, 2 hot pots, 2 microwavers. I'm going to go with 2 hot pots just because I want to stop seeker players. And then around the horn over into here. And this is one that I'm a little bit curious about. Does this make our troop damage apply? I don't think it does. It's just a duration, so we don't have any troop damage applying there. So you're not going to get like wherever Spark's universal remote makes them do more damage or something like that. And then, of course, the remote defib, and that is your entire Warships tech tree. And this season will start on November 25th and end on December 22nd. And those dates, Supercell always tends to mix those dates up based on daylight savings time and Western world versus Eastern world, so do double check them. That should give you the basic idea of how long the season is, though. And with those lengths of seasons, we've got these size chests. Always have to examine the chests to see how big they are. 15, 16, 18 into 20, you guessed it, 22, and then finally the biggest chests of them all are 25. So that is your season. That should give you all of the details to get your brains working, to get your planning happening. And realistically, I think that going that top path is probably better, especially if you can get into heavies. But if you're going to stick around at the 2 engine room level for a little bit, going the bottom path is probably better because you'll have clone riflemen and you'll be able to get engine rooms using explosive drones potentially. So hopefully this has helped you, given you some ideas, gotten you excited, and more importantly, answered some questions. So any of those troops, such as Scorchers or Rocket Choppas or Critter Cannons, Lasertrons, Heavy Choppas, you can get all sorts of extra troops in those landing crafts. And on top of that, even with the clone riflemen, you can get a whole bunch of them into your landing crafts. All of a sudden, you can get 30 per boat, whereas before we could only get, I don't know, what was it? I don't even know the proper number. Check it out, but let's not go there. Because sadly, the landing craft boost doesn't actually show what the boost is. It just shows level 26, build count 8, which is actually 7, troop capacity 30. So I couldn't tell you exactly what it boosted it to, but do keep that bug in mind because you probably want to have 8 landing crafts, because if you don't, you're going to have a bad time. So as always, I am Zedmot, coming to you from the dev build, code Zedmot in all of the things. I shall talk to you soon. Thank you for coming in, liking, sharing, subscribing, but as always, more importantly, comments make the world go round. I'm Zedmot. Thank you for coming in. Peace.